Perfect.
Today's daf is daf nun, and we're up to the third line. Rabbi Akiva is kaddish le brate de kalba savur. Rabbi Akiva engaged Rachel, who was the daughter of Kalba Savua. Kalba Savua was one of the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest person in the Jewish community. And perhaps this Agadita that we're learning here follows the previous Gemara about Rabbi Yehuda, who was such a poor person. Shoma Kalba Savua, he heard about the fact that she got engaged to Rabbi Akiva. And he wasn't exactly a happy camper, because Rabbi Akiva was at that point pretty ignorant. He was from a mishpach of Gerim. He was poor as a church mouse. And Rabbi Akiva apparently was attracted to Rachel because of her tznius. Adra Hanomi called Nichse. So maybe this is the reason why this Agadat appears here, because we're learning the laws of Mudar Hana. And Kalba Savu is Madir Hana for his daughter Rachel from all his nechasim, Azla v'nan Sibei, but nevertheless she decided to marry him. But she did it besitva during the winter months, and they were freezing cold. They didn't have blankets to cover themselves. Havaganu, they slept Bei Tivna, in the Beis HaTeven, where the straw was. Rabbi Tivna min Masya. And Rabbi Akiva had to collect the pieces of straw that got stuck to his beard or his hair. Omar Lo, Rabbi Akiva said to his wife Rachel, Ihavisli Reminolich Yerushalayim de Dahava. If I had the money, I would create for you a jewel out of gold that would be in the shape of Yerushalayim. This is called the famous Yerushalayim Shel Zahav. What was her name? Naomi Shemer? You remember her? Yeah. Now, the Gemara in Sota Daf Mem Tes tells us that the Ataros Kalos, those crowns for the Kalos, were an ear Shel Zahav. And Rashi interprets it as something called Nushka. But in any event, Tosfos elsewhere in Masechet Shabbos says that this was a Tachshit HaOsui Ke'ein Torah. So it was a beautiful ornament, a piece of jewelry that was in the shape of a crown. Now, this is questionable because the Gemara in Sota says they made a gzera that we shouldn't wear ataros, shel chasanim v'kalos. But apparently, since she's no longer a kala, Rachel at this point, he's allowed to give her this atarah. Now, Eliyahu Hanavi Naran says, came linachamam, and to indicate that there are even people who are in worse shape than they are. Instead of comparing yourself to a rich person, compare yourself to someone who's even more destitute than you are. Idmulu kan, so he appeared as a man, as a human being, v'kakari above, and he knocks on the door. Amalahu, and he says to them, Havali purta de sivna, please give me a little bit of straw that I can use that straw, because the Yaldis Itzisei, my wife, gave birth, Velesli midam laguna, and I don't have any bed for her to sleep on. So at that point, Rabbi Akiva turns to his wife, Amalei Rabbi Akiva Linsasa, Gavred afilu tivna lo isle. Here, take a look at this person. He doesn't even have straw to sleep on. So we're wealthy compared to him. We can sleep on straw. Amrole. So Rachel turns to Rabbi Akiva and she says, Zil Havi Beirav, go ahead and pack out, go to the Beis Medrash and study Torah. Ozal, Rabbi Akiva goes to the Beis Medrash, he learns Torah for Tarte Sreishnin for 12 consecutive years. Kamei de Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yoshua. LeMishlam Tarte Sreishnin, he comes back after 12 years, and Ka'asal Beise, he comes to his house, but he's still on the outside of his house, and Shoma min achore Beise, he overhears a conversation on the outside between a Rasha, an evil person, and his wife, Rachel, the Kamalei Chad Rachel de Beise. This Rasha says to his wife, you married a man who has two Reusas. Number one, Shapir Ovid Le'avuch. Your father made the right decision in objecting you're marrying this Rabbi Akiva because Chada Delo Domilich, he doesn't have the background, he doesn't have the Mishpacha Chashuva like you have. And the second reason is Shafkas Armolus Chayos Kulshnin. He left you as an almana whose husband is really still alive, but basically she's an almana. She's an aguna. She can't get married. She's in a marriage, and he's nowhere to be found. And boy, was this Russia surprised by her response. Amar Lei, she said to him, if he would listen to me, she didn't know that he was listening, then I would say to him, Lehevi tarti shnin achraynas. Go for another 12 years and learn. So Rabbi Akiva, when he overhears this conversation, declares, Hold the Havas li Rashusa, since she gave me Rashus, to go back for another 12 years, Ahedel Achori, I'm going to turn around. And Reb Chaim Shulevitz, the great Rosh Yeshiva of the Mir, says, turn around, meaning I'm not even going to go into the house, say hello, get a hug, drink a cup of coffee, turns around, goes back to the Beis Medrash. Hadar says Reb Chaim Shulevitz, because 12 and 12 are two separate entities. And there would be a hefsek, an interruption between the first 12 and the second 12 if he went in and had a cup of coffee. But 24 is that much greater than 12 plus 12. I think you'd say it's a geometric increment. Havitarti Srei Shni Achraynis. He went back for another 12 years. Also, the Esrim V'Arba Alofim Zuze Talmidi came back with 24,000 pairs of students. Nafuk Kuli Alma Liapi. The whole tzibur came out to greet Rabbi Akiva and his Talmidim. The Afi and also his wife, Kamas Lemefik Liape, she stood up to go towards him. Omar Allah, Hu Rishi, Viat Lahecha, where are you going? You're going to show up in front of the whole Kihilo. Look at you. You look like such a beggar, such a homeless person. Begadim, you're not even wearing begadim, and you're going to go out to be Makabel Pnei Gadol Ador Omar. So she said to the Rasha, quoting a pasuk in Mishle, Yodea Tzadik Nefesh Behemto. A tzaddik even knows what his animals need, how much more so what his wife needs. She understood that he would not hold it against her, that she would come in shattered, in tattered clothing. When she came towards the head of the line here to see Rabbi Akiva, the Talmidim, the Chachamim, they pushed her away. So Rabbi Akiva declared, Hanichula, this is one of the most famous words in Shas, Shali v'shalachem, Shalom. All our Torah belongs to her. It's in Hazchus. Shoma Kalba Savua, her father finds out that there's a great man coming into the city. Apparently, for many years, he had wanted to be shol on his neder, but now there was a chacham, of great stature who was here locally. Now it's an opportunity for him to be mater's ned of Ishtere. And they were mater's ned the Ishtere. And at that point, Rabbi Akiva is allowed to have benefit from his nechasim, from his father-in-law's nechasim. The Gemara now tells us about Rabbi Akiva that despite his poverty, he became wealthy because of 6 different occurrences that happened. Shis, Mili, Iater, Rabbi Akiva. Now, the first source of his wealth was Min Kalba Savua, as we said, after his father-in-law was mater the ned. But there were other instances. Number 2, Min Ila Disfinta. Apparently, in the front part of the boat of a ship, they used to make a shape of an ayal. Ayal is swift, right? It's a deer that runs swiftly, so the sfina should go quickly. The kol sfinta avdinle min ena. Right, so every boat, every yacht, every ship had a dmus of a carved out, bust of an isle. And Zimnechat, now we have to add one important point here, that they used to fill up this isle, this fake isle, with money inside its kishkis kilo. And this has to do with different kinds of nichush and so forth. Zimnechada and Shia. One time they forgot the isle al kef yama on the chofayam. Also, who Rabbi Akiva found it, the ashkeche, and he took it. Now the Gemara tells us elsewhere in Shas that Rabbi Akiva, wanted to return it to them, and they were so impressed by it that they said, all right, you keep it for yourself. Number 3, umin gavza. Gavza is a kind of a little cashier box, safe box. And the Yishmaelim that were sailors out on the open seas, they would put money, kesef and so forth, into these safe boxes. Rabbi Akiva offered those who were in charge of the ship for Zuzan. That was, I guess, his Dmei Knisa. Amaluhu Aisili Midam. I want something in return. They didn't find anything. Ela Gavza. They found this little cashier box that was used to hide money, al kefiyama, on the chofaya. Asiu, they brought it to him. Amrule, they said to Rabbi Akiva, Avid marona ale, wait for us, our master, and we'll try to find other things. Ishtakach dahavi mole dinri. He opened up this teva, and lo and behold, he finds it's full of dinre kesef. It's tremendous of value. The Zimna, now why was this, or how is this safe box found? Zimna Chadatovisfina, there was a boat that went down, sunk to the bottom of the sea. The Kule Iska Havi Mochis Bahu Gabza. And all the money that was collected in this boat was placed into this cashier box, this little safe box, which went down to the bottom of the sea together with the ship. Rabbi Akiva found it, apparently it surfaced. Demin Disrukisa. And it belonged to that group of Yishmaelim. Now we're up to number 4. Umin Machonisa, Sora Nachris. One time, Rabbi Akiva and his Talmidim needed mos, and they went to borrow money from this Matronisa. And she responded to Rabbi Akiva, I'm going to lend you this money, and we need cosigners. We need guarantors. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Almighty God, and the river and the sea, the Yam, will be our Ravim. They will pay up in event that you default on the loan. And she sets up a time for Rabbi Kiva to come back and pay the loan, but unfortunately, Rabbi Kiva took ill. So the Machanusa went to the Sfas Hayam and she declared, Ribono Shel Olam, I know that Rabbi Akiva is not well, and that's why he's not coming to pay up his chol. But remember, please, that you accepted arvus for this halva, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu did a miracle, and the daughter of the Kesar became mentally ill, and they took an argaz that was full of avodim tovis margolios, and they threw it into the Yam. I'm sorry, and she threw it into the Yam, right? She had lost it. She was not working with a full deck. Now, this Yam carried this, box of mows until it reached the Machanusa. So she took it, and therefore the chov was paid up. When Rabbi Akiva got well and he came to pay up his chov, she said, no, your co-signers, your guarantors have already paid up because Baruch Hu did a miracle, and I found this amazing amount of money. And therefore, I want to give you even more money than what you borrowed. So take some of the, the surplus money from this great miracle that happened.